Hi everyone, I'm going to do a painting today of the Yosemite National Park, and we were there about 20 years ago, and it was pretty impressive. We're only there for a day. We didn't plan our trip very well, and the weather wasn't great in midwinter, but it was still a beautiful, impressive park, and I'd love to paint it. It's going to be very dark. You know, this is a lot of darkness. I've done the sketch, and I'll get stuck into the paints. I've got half Daniel Smith and half Art Spectrum, and I'll let you know if there's how I go with the new colours. All right, paintbrushes mentioned below, paper mentioned below, so all that stuff is underneath. Oh, and if you like these videos, please give me a like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. That way you'll know when I'm uploading a new video. Okay, so this time I'm going to go for a really big mop. It's a number 18. So with watercolour, you usually start with the palest first, and that would be for me some really pale, let me see, ultramarine, the back here, just a hint of the mountain behind there. Now what I will do is use that same colour as a sort of an underpainting, and I'm going to, using the wrong colour there, phthalo. I've just put it in the pan and it's a little bit. So I'm going to go for blues as an underpainting on these mountains. On that side. It's such a neutral day, but I'm pretty sure the sun was hitting that side. So I'll put the blues in the shadowy areas like that. A little bit down the bottom there. Okay. Get some greens out and mix them in this stage, early stage. Across the centre there. Some beautiful browns. I'll go for a lovely warm burnt sienna colour right across like that. Just taking advantage of the dry paint there. Now I've got an old rag here instead of paper. Not as good as paper, but it'll do. Don't want that to run down. I want to keep that dark edge relatively dark. Now in the foreground I'm going to do some purples down here. Very pale, believe it or not. I've got this lovely moon glow. Oops. Just see what purples I've got. Okay. Maybe even darker than that. Mix a touch of black in with that, makes that moon glow colour. I'm just going to put it right across there like that. I'm going to get that same combination of purple and a little bit of phthalo. Run it through here. And on the other side, go more with the greens. Purple green combination, and put that down there. Right, take it right to the edge. Same here. Green right to the edge. Let's define that first. Now, I've got some blacks. A bit early to go in with the solid black, but if I put a black in to start with, it gives me a guide at the edges here just how dramatic I can make this painting. This trunk here is going to be quite black. And I'll go into some browns for it too. I've actually neglected the, I've changed my drawing. I've gone different to what my drawing is. I'll just put some spots here for the rocks down here. Yeah. Right, now that's a good start, I think. I'm going to dry that off and then I'll come back with another layer of looseness before I tighten up with detail. Right, I've dried that off and it's very lighter, much lighter. So that's sort of like the paper that does that. Doesn't, I don't know. I'm not 100% wrapped in this particular bao hong yet, but we'll see. Now I'm going to return to the mountains first, and I will finish adding a little bit of bluey, distant detail into those, just with the tip of my brush, coming straight down. I'll press the heel a little bit to just finish the stroke. Where am I? I'm using the usual neutral ultramarine blue and burnt umber. I might go a little bit bluer. Okay, a bit more the ultramarine than the umber. So I'm just going to let that touch up there. I'm hoping that will fade. See if I can get some sharp edges in there, even though it's a long way away. Sometimes rubbing your finger through a fingernail. Okay. Going straight up that side. So much detail back there that it's almost warrants a sort of a wire brush that one can just drag over the top of this rough texture, take advantage. Okay, I'll mix up a bit more of the texture paper. It's almost like using a toothbrush. Let's see if it works. I'm experimenting here. Every painting I'm doing is a little bit different to one before, and I've got different techniques used. A bit of a gully there. And there's something very dark at the back there. There's some rocks coming down there. Okay, I'll get back to my usual brush to define some areas. On this side, I want to go, oh, by the way, I'm going to come back to that in a minute with some trees going up like that. So that'll be fun, so hold on for that. On this other side, much lighter because of the sun hitting this wall here. So it's quite going to be a challenge to just pick. I won't go that far out. I'm going to put dark in, knowing that dark does not hold on this paper, and that it's going to lighten up. Do a few verticals like that, a few fat parts, and then down to a thin. I'm going to wet my brush, and I'm going to just run water through there and just let it bleed out. Just kind of equivalent of spraying it with a water spray. Okay. And I might use a little bit of moon glow, I think, in these shadows. Purple distance. Thank the Impressionists for that influence. Now, coming down there and there like that. Once again, I'm going to come back up into that area. Looks like there's a bit of some green on that. There's definitely a slope coming down there, solid ground behind that. So I'm working on the distance first, get the distance pretty well right, and then you can come in at the foreground. So once again, there's some sort of a building. Okay. I'll give some strokes in there. Oh, beautiful. So I'm going to be a little bit pushy here and go for blacks in those dark areas. Looks like something horizontal across the top there. I don't know what that is. I'll just fiddle with that. Now, at this stage, I want a very, very, very dark green for these trees. So I'll start with full strength. I think it's called undersea green. I shall stop there, make a stop about there, and then go up from that point. Fat, and I'm just going to pull the brush up to give those trees shape. They don't need going over. One stroke is enough at this stage. I've always got to hedge my statements in case I go back over them later. Because I'm quite down low to this, there is a line here. Quite sure yet how I'll fill that in. Anyway, this beautiful. These trees are, and they're getting much bigger, closer. I think there's one that's really close there. I'll do that later. Okay, some horizontals. Right, now just to give that a really good solid base, I'm going to pop some black across the base of that, like that. And hopefully that will just bleed up into those trees. I won't bother doing the top edge, I'll just run it across like that. And that way it'll give, as if they're sitting very solidly. This a little bit odd there, but I'll fix that in a minute. These, I think browns in the foreground here. Once again, wet my brush a bit better than that. Ultramarine, burnt umber by itself, just to get a very dark edge there, and then fatten the brush out to a stroke. Just wet water on the brush, clear water I mean, and then take some of that up. I'll take it up into those two, and maybe some more detail in those. Tiny bit of purple on the tip of the brush along the edge of the water there. And that purple will mix with that burnt umber and make a nice, interesting edge. I'll just tap to soften the top. Now what I'll do instead, I will wet my brush and take it across. I'll wet it, squeeze it out into a rag, and then add the water across the top there. That will bleed up. That will force that paint to go up vertically. You can do it, press hard and soft and hard and soft, just to differentiate across there, knowing it's not man-made, that it is really there are bushes. Just to define up here. So I want those trees to look definitely like trees. Okay. There's a secondary little bay across there that is very useful. So I'll just define that with a bit of brown to make it look interesting, and for the eye, I'll put a bit of orangey yellow colour into it. Just picks that up a bit. Oh, the same colour in the foreground here I can see would be very interesting. It's quite transparent, just putting it over the top of that blue. Won't matter, doesn't need to be bright, it's good, it's a dull colour anyway. And for the base of it, I'm pretty sure dark green will work. Those, and right over there as well, on that side of the water. Okay. I'll be coming back in here with a little bit of gouache at that point there. And I want some more. I really need some. I think I need black across here to define this area. Okay. And dark green and black together to give the reflections in that water there. And once again, because these trees are lightening up, I am going, just as I thought I might, going up into them to darken them. With watercolour, it's a constant fight to keep things dark. It's probably my oil painting and acrylic background talking there, because I love dark colours, I love dark paintings. We used to call them, I'm sure it's still low major. What's the name of the sort of colour, tonal composition, tonal choice? High minor, very pale. Oh, look, I should do a chart for high minor and low minor. I dig out some of my old lessons. The major is major contrast, minor is not very high contrast, minor contrast. And then high is high, the light tones, and low is the dark tones. So you end up with combinations. So I'm just putting a little bit of purple there to bring towards the centre of that. A few lines going across, very light, just to indicate that there's action. It's not still water. And blues and purples and blacks mixed together can make lovely, plus water, texture on this side. And then back through that side, trying to keep my brush as horizontal as possible here because it's water. And that's one of the tricks to indicating water is the only thing that's horizontal in the picture, is the water. So, okay. I'm getting, oh, by the way, ignore that 330. I've got absolutely no reason what it's doing there. Should turn that around. It really is my Vegemite pot, which I'm very proud of, because not many people can buy Vegemite that large. It's a commercial pot. It's a commercial quantity, obviously. Okay, so I'm just going to fiddle around at the back here, add a bit more interest in the water, because I'll probably come back over that with gouache. So I just want to put a bit of, and that's running down a bit. That's a bloom or an oops. There we go. Now, the fun part here is yet to start. It is the top of this log. And I'm going to put slightly bluish purple light across the top of it. And now I'm going to go into the black for especially, oh, there's a couple of logs on the other side, that's what they are. There's a log there, and there's a bit of a log in the water. And there's some bits and pieces. Sure, this causes a dam. Dark under there again, they've lost their shape. Silently fading away while I wasn't watching. Honestly, this stuff is so naughty. Okay, I'm going really dark on this log, and I'm not going to put these little spots there. They look odd, so why do them? Now I'm going to put some very, very, very dark shadows around the rocks that are here. Define the rocks with the shadow, almost like reverse painting. And because the light's coming that side, I'm going to put a shadow in the back of these. In this case, I'm drawing with such a dry brush, or painting with such a dry brush. I'm not really watercolouring at this stage. This is more like your oil or your acrylic paint anyway. So if you are an acrylic painter and you want to find some inspiration in this particular type of painting, feel free to just do loose work to start with and then get stuck into the beautiful, the deeper tones down here. Going to start doing a little bit of cheating here. I'm putting some foliage in that I can't see in the painting, but I'm sure would have been there. So that's a vertical, little bit of weed sticking up that's caught on that rock, on the log. I'll grab some more of the green. I'll grab slightly different green and darken up. Well, I'll start by lightening, but then I'll darken up some of these trees behind. While that's wet, put the darker green in. And I've got the shadow on the left side, which is a great idea. Add a little bit more detail to that business coming down the hill. There I was before saying, you don't have to do any more to these trees. In many ways you don't, but gee, it's fun to do a little bit more to the trees. Don't need these light parts in here. They're a little bit distracting. Now, one thing I didn't do that I might do now is add a touch of brown to the top of the hills. I'm making a slightly reddish colour. Add it to the blue that's there. Just so you get that real contrast with the foliage. This side is in the light again, once again lighter. And back up here. If you want to have fun there, now's the time to get a very thin brush and put some lines in here. Obviously there's trees at the top of these canyons. Oh, mountains, I mean. Opposite. Dark on that side. Clean my little pinky, because pinky holds my hand out when I go to do verticals. It was getting dark when we were there. Once again, dark on the left side of those trees. I'll just come over with some solid black. Now, what's more fun to do? I'm going to do a few verticals off here. Keeping your brush at the right amount of wetness is very important. So in there. Touch with the tiny edge. My hand, look at it. Oh dear. There are more vertical plants there at the edge of the water. And the odd rock. I might just do the odd rock in there. So it's a little lump down into the water. Sorry, my mind is zooming away and I'm not even thinking what I'm saying, as you can tell. Oh, that's right, there's a beautiful, I'm pretty sure there's a close pine here that's not showing up in this photograph. And it's probably got some white branches coming off that. There's a tree there, perfect. You want a tree there. Just going to darken the edges here. Right down there, because I've gone off there. Sometimes it's good to go off all over. That makes it easier when the time comes to define and frame the painting. To frame it, yeah. There, that's too light. So I need to knock that back if I'm not going to leave white edges. And happy to have, I think, purpley tops on some of these rocks. And in some cases, slightly pinker, warmer rocks too. So I'll do that. Darken them up with a tone. Just at this stage. Okay. A couple of things I need to do, and that is one of them, tiny little waterfall up there, which is a little bit hard to pick, but it's happening. And I've already got the white in the middle here, but I can just bring that out a little bit more in a satisfying way, out that way. Take it right over to that edge there and have it go up here, that side, as if it's a little bit of, make it a little bit messy. And it looks like it could be rapids coming down. Top of this log, I'm not sure. Feeling a little bit, no, don't do that. Okay, I won't do that. I will run some lights on the side of this rock face and then smudge it in a little bit. Little white lines. They're fading away into that area. I might just lighten this behind. It's stayed a bit dark. I didn't really want it to be that dark. It's got to be a long way away, which means it's got to be very pale. Reverse to trees is to do horizontal lines going down into them. And what else could I just pick up a little bit of lightness on? Those bushes there. Maybe a touch on these ones over here. A little bit of a line going through there. Could be a road, could be anything. And sometimes these reeds that you put in can have reverse. They're dark, but you can also put some white on them. Just for the fun of it there. And put a little bit of white here. To find those rocks. Spots. Okay, I'm going to do it. Top of this log. Yeah, okay, that works. I wasn't sure whether I could get away with putting a few rows of, like, you know, texturing the bark up. Just going to bring attention to these trees over here as if something different happening there. Okay. Dark under there. Dark on this side. The idea is to try and bring your eye down to the centre. And that might be it. I'll give it a signature. And we're done. Okay, thanks for watching. Not sure about this area down here, but you know, let me just fix that. Let's go a bit darker on one side. I think I'll divide those rocks into two rocks there. Make a third one here. Keep playing or not. When to stop. Okay, so that's the painting. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Thank you.